So today we have essential skills for career success. Again, I'm Alex Becher, and we also have Sarah Burns. For those of you who don't know, I'm from the County Office of Education, and we are the county agency that provides supports to all of the 42 K-12 school districts, as well as the charter schools in San Diego County. We also oversee our JCCS schools and the Monarch School. More specifically, I'm from the College and Career Readiness team, and our role is to help prepare students for life after high school so that they know the work experience, training, and education they need to meet their career goals. And without further ado, I leave it to our headliner, Sarah Burns.
You're too kind, not a headliner. But hi, everybody. Thanks so much for joining us. I'm really excited to share with you everything that we have today. And I am from the San Diego Workforce Partnership. If you are not familiar with us, give you a brief rundown. We are the Workforce Development Board for the county and the city of San Diego. And so what that means is we are federally and state funded to operate career centers throughout the county, provide job seeker services to adults and to youth. We have programs for out of school youth 16 to 24. We do lots of labor market research to figure out what's going on in our county, to figure out the priority sectors and occupations that offer the most promise for our job seekers and students. And then a lot of my work really focuses on taking that labor market information and research and applying it to the real world. So helping to create tools like the ones we'll show you today that educators and career counselors can take and use with students and job seekers to help prepare them to navigate and enter the world of work. So you can find out lots more about us on our website. It's workforce.org. Somebody had amazing foresight when they got that email address. There's 600 workforce boards in the country, and we got workforce.org. So always easy to find us there. And what we're going to do today is start with ground setting. What are the essential skills? Why do we care? We're going to test out the rubrics that we've been working on and are excited to launch with you. We are going to do some discussion because we know educators have tons of amazing ideas and want to give you a chance to share them with others. And Alex is going to talk you through some training resources to help you to explicitly teach and model these essential skills in the classroom. We'll share some information about a student showcase that we are hosting, I guess is the best term, in the early next year. So we'll dive right into it with you now. So essential skills. You will also know them as all of these other terms. And really what they are the social skills, personality traits, attitudes, and behaviors that are going to be used to navigate your environment and learn skills and organize and complete tasks and get along with others. These are all of those je ne sais quoi skills that employers are always saying that they're looking for, but they say, we can't teach this. Everybody needs to come to us with these already. Well, we're all educators. We know that you can teach this. And we're going to dig into a little bit of how in a minute. But literally every single research report that we put out, employers tell us things like, you know what, I need someone who can come to work and work with a team and have a good attitude. And I can teach them the other stuff on the job. They say that when we ask them in polls, essential skills are the most difficult attribute to find in candidates. They really struggle on that realm. So what we did is analyze the top essential skills in job postings. We have a data source that scrapes all the job postings in the county, and we categorized them into 6 groups, and we used some employer guidance to do this. And that's where we got to these essential skills. You'll see the 6 of them listed over here: emotional intelligence, communication, creative and critical thinking, collaboration, dependability, and resourcefulness. And each of these groups has lots of different criteria and aspects to them, and that's why we've created the rubrics that we'll go in today to help break them up a little bit more. And they're really important for that getting the job piece, right? We just said employers are more willing to teach technical skills. They say they can't teach essential skills, but really they don't know how and don't have the time, honestly. If you're an employer, you need to get your work done, and that's not something necessarily that you're interested in training people on. And they're really key, of course, because they're transferable across all sectors and all jobs. So without further ado, we're going to dive right into the rubric. If you want to, on your own screen right now, go to this website. Alex, can you please drop that in the chat too, so that you can look through it together with us. But you'll see we have a ton of resources posted on the essential skills. And what I'm going to go to right now is the PDF version of the rubric. So let me click over to that. And here we are. So the essential skills rubrics were created with a team from Workforce Partnership. I worked with, and other people from our organization worked with Alex and his team to bring together our expertise in both education, obviously, and workforce, and the research that we're aware of, to make this tool as strong as it can be. We gathered input also through public comment period and through targeted outreach from educators, from businesses, from higher ed, from who else? Students. It's like, I know there's a really important group. Students, we got some of our best feedback from students on these rubrics to really make sure we're considering a well-rounded group of perspectives in making these really useful and actionable. You're going to notice as we go down that we also made it as a single point rubric. And if this isn't something you're familiar with, it means that instead of a rubric where sometimes you may be more familiar with a criteria being on the left-hand side and a level 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or something like that, we think, especially for this topic, there's never going to be a place where you reach level 5 and you are the master of an essential skill and you don't need to develop anymore. So what was important to us is that the focus is really on the evidence, that the criteria is listed, and when there's evidence of areas for growth, it's handled over here. And if there's evidence of meeting or exceeding that criteria, you share it. And that way students have really actionable feedback that they can build upon and use to develop. The final thing I want to point out about the rubric is there are 6 essential skills, but 7 rubrics in this document. And that is because we also made a 7th, which is called career development. And that was to, again, take in some of those other aspects of being ready for the workplace that we were hearing from employers and others that didn't necessarily fall into the essential skills category, but we still thought was really relevant to this body of work. So you can see elements here like understanding workplace policies and chain of command and health and safety rules, and understanding professionalism in your comments, your dress, your language, and applies industry research and other pieces to plan for careers. So this one will really help specifically in situations where you are preparing for a workplace experience with a student. So that is the PDF, but we also want to point out that we have a Word version here and a Google Docs version, because we know the pretty one is nice sometimes if you want to print it out and have people scribble on it, but sometimes you want to type things in and that's not going to give you enough space. So you can also do whatever you want with them, manipulate them, turn them into whatever format is going to be most helpful to you. Right here, you can get the Word and the Google Doc version. So the next thing, I'll pause right there if there's any questions as I switch back to my deck.
No questions in the chat currently, but also feel free to unmute yourself if you have any questions, or you can still drop them in the chat.
Okay.
Hi, can you just really quickly tell us how you envision educators using this rubric? Like how will we integrate it? Are you going to get there?
We are. We're going to talk a ton about that. So thank you. I'm glad you brought that up. We're absolutely getting there. All right. But first, what we want to do is give you a chance to test it out and really sit with it for a minute. So pull it up on your screen and I'll pull it up too. And what we'd like you to do is scroll to the dependability rubric. We think this is something that comes up in everybody's week. Reflect on the past week. And there will be a poll at the end of this. We want you to identify the criteria that has been your strongest in the last week, and identify the one that has been your weakest, and give a piece of evidence for each. So you can just scribble this down on a piece of paper. You can do it in your head. You can write it in the chat, whatever works for you. And I'm going to play a little bit of music while you think about that. So I'm going to give you about 3 minutes to look at the dependability rubric and do a little bit of reflecting. I'll start that now. Take about 1 more minute. All right, everybody, welcome back. I hope that was enough time for you to get familiar with this rubric. I am going to launch a poll now. We would like to know, in the dependability rubric, which criteria do you think you are the strongest in the last week? I wish I could participate in the poll as well. This rubric is so real to me this week. You know, those weeks where you have like 700 different things to juggle and you're like, oh man, I'm prioritizing, I'm talking, I'm communicating, I'm dropping things are falling through the cracks. All right, I still see some votes coming in, so I'm gonna keep it open for another second. A lot of people, the majority right now, are taking initiative to identify and complete tasks as their number one. Okay. I'm going to end that poll, and I just want everybody to have a chance to click, but I'm going to end it now. And then I have a second poll. I'll not share those results yet. I'll launch the second poll first. What was your weakest? Tell us what your weakest criteria was in dependability. The first one that came in was arriving on time and prepared. Starkly 100% for a moment, but right now we have displaying good time management as a big challenge. I am right there with you. That's really taking the lead. And it seems like everybody's really strong in the taking initiatives to identify and complete tasks. Nobody so far that listed that as the weakest. Okay, I'm gonna end the poll in 5 seconds. Very click your answer if you haven't yet. Okay, I'll share some results. Our results of poll 1, so you can see that as well. And I also wonder how much this would, our students would identify with this if they would end up with the same results. In poll 2, I'll share that quickly so you can see. Good time management is a challenge for a lot of us, followed by anticipating challenges and communicating with others. Okay, so now that you had a chance to sit with this tool for a minute, I would wonder how it, whoa, sorry, my seconds are going nuts. Okay, how did it go is the question. So go ahead and in the chat or out loud, we'd love to hear, how did it feel to use the rubrics this way as a self-assessment? See some good opportunity for self-reflection. Did it feel natural? Did it feel awkward? Did you appreciate having to write the criteria rather than having to select a number? Oh yeah, someone challenging to be honest with yourself, absolutely. Agreed, nice to know you're not alone in your challenges. I feel that as well. Yeah, absolutely something students can do, and we'll talk about that as we jump into the next piece of going ahead and applying this. So I want you to encourage you all, continue to chat there and talk about this, and I'm going to keep on rolling with the webinar and really talk about that next piece, which is implementation. And how can we apply this? And what we just did together was number one thing that you can do, which is start with a self-assessment, really encouraging students to, encouraging them to reflect and be honest and sit with themselves for a little bit. Let me go ahead and pull it back up. So back here on the site, and again, I will drop that in the chat one more time in case anybody is new joining us. So other tools that are on here besides the rubrics themselves, important one, implementation guide. And I see some in the chat that the assessment needs more time. Absolutely, I agree with that. Obviously, our 3-minute webinar timeline is not reality, but absolutely give some more time for that. So this is the implementation guide where we wanted to, again, provide some ideas for how to put these into practice in your work. Sorry, just dropping it in the chat again. And really this second page is where those examples are. So using the rubric, self-evaluation is the one we just practiced. You can compare that with an evaluation from a teacher or mentor. You can just choose one. Oh yeah, sorry, I was making that screen share a bit bigger. You could choose one of these essential skills to focus on for an entire unit, to think about and reflect on. You could use it for a specific project. And again, we recommend just focusing on one essential skill at a time. It's a lot going on in all those rubrics together, but really being able to dive into one at a time, maybe one per project. You could use it for portfolio reflections. And to help you with doing that, we created a reflection document that you might want to apply in your classroom as well. The link is in that implementation guide, but it's also here on the essential skills page, essential skills student reflection. Again, it's in a Google Doc, so you can work on it. And it just is pretty straightforward. Pick the essential skill that you have worked on. Tell us how you've grown, tell us what you're strongest in, and what are your goals for the future. Really thinking about, again, setting that mindset for where you want to move and how you want to progress. So that's the very high level of the implementation guide. In the chat at this point, it would be great for you to continue that conversation of, are there other ways that you envision using those rubrics? And how might you deploy that in the context of virtual learning? Because that's really where, of course, the Go Virtual conference is focusing right now. Again, you're welcome to unmute to chat if you want. You're welcome to just put it in the chat. What are some ways you could envision using them, and how might you deploy this in the context of virtual learning? Yeah, pre-test, post-test. See resume building. Posting as modules, and what Alex is about to share with us can be helpful in that. He has some pre-made modules for some of the essential skills that you're going to be able to leverage. Portfolio websites, that is perfect for a portfolio website. You can just add this right in. Oh yeah, and another thing that's in the implementation guide is, you can do peer assessments. If there's a group project, for example, it's really tough, of course, for you as the instructor to have full insight into what's going on in that scenario and in that interaction. So having students learn this use this as a peer-to-peer activity also could be really effective. And also in building the essential skills, right? Helping them to have conversations with each other about where they see them being strong and where they see their peers having room for growth. So reflecting on building an essential skill at the same time. So thank you for all of these ideas. I, again, encourage everybody to keep scrolling through these and continue the discussion. I'm going to, oh, we've got a question, go ahead. Yes, there's curriculum to directly teach the essential skills. And the prior slides show how it could be used with portfolio assessments. If you go to the website and look at the implementation guide there, that is going to have that information. And that just reminded me as well, I'll go back to it really quick because I didn't go through one area of that. So the implementation guide, again, on the website can be found right here. And it has, yes, those recommendations for how it could be used in portfolio reflections, and has the reflection guide itself that you can link to. And then when you keep going down, we've got alignments to standards, so that when you're doing your planning, you can quickly pick from the list of essential skills that might be relevant. So we have alignment to the Common Core ELA standards, to the CTE anchor standards. And then down in the second table, alignment to the Common Core math standards for mathematical practice. Of course, there's lots of alignment there. And then the NGSS science and engineering practices. So one thing you'll notice in a lot of these is there's overlap with almost all the essential skills in many of these. So it's really, you can apply these pretty broadly in whatever you're teaching in context of other standards. So with that, keep questions coming. I'll answer them in the chat if not out loud. And in the meantime, I'm pretty sure this is the point to pass it over to Alex. So Alex, you want to go ahead and take it over the screen?
All right, thank you. Let me see here. Yes, I'm going to share screen. All right. Can everyone see that?
Mm-hmm.
All right, cool. So as some of you mentioned in the chat, these rubrics are excellent tools for generating awareness among students and educators about what essential skills are and what are the building blocks that comprise those skills. But as some of you mentioned in the chat, we also wanted to create a tool to help students improve in these skills. And that's where the teacher training comes in. So we created a teacher training in Canvas, and as you may have guessed, it is a train the trainer format. So we want to prepare educators to prepare students in these skills. It's also an asynchronous format. So these are trainings that you can start or stop at any time. You can go at your own pace. They're a series of videos. Actually, I'm just going to take you to the site and give you a better sense of what this looks like. Okay. All right, so hopefully you can all see that okay. So here we have the course homepage. I'm just going to run through a quick example here, and you can see in the table of contents on the left, we have different modules. So we're going to use a test module here. This is a module 2, which focuses on creativity, critical thinking, and resourcefulness. And these are aligned with the San Diego Workforce Partnership Essential Skills poster and the rubrics. So each section is a video. It ranges from 2 minutes to 8 minutes, and it covers a particular topic in that module. And you can see again on the left in the table of contents, we have the different videos that comprise module 2. Below each video, there is a list of resources. So you can see here, we have the slides, we have activity sheets for activities that are referenced in that module, and these are downloadable. You can take the slides, take the activities, and use them however you think they can be best used to benefit your students. So you can watch the videos, and at the end of each video, you will be given a quiz, and you have to pass the quiz before you can move on. It's very intense. But the quizzes are only 2 to 3 questions, and they're just there to check that you get the foundational concepts from that video. So for example, like some of these are very, they're common sense based. So for example, question 1, in which sector do employers particularly need problem solvers? Question 2, which problem in society does the agriculture and natural resources sector solve? So it's pretty straightforward. So that's just, I just wanted to give you guys a visual of what it looks like. Let's jump back to the PowerPoint.
And Alex, while you're doing that, there's a couple of questions that have come into the chat that I just want to highlight. Someone asked if we could be added to the Canvas course. So I added the link in the chat for you to sign up. And there is, you can also get to that registration from the CTE page that we've been looking at from here. One question is, can I take this course if I'm a Riverside County teacher?
We will get into that.
Okay.
Currently, it's free for San Diego County educators. As you can see, we are working to create another one for outside of San Diego that will have a small fee attached to it. And we're not making any money off it. It's just to cover a cost for operating the course. So stay tuned. We will be offering that soon.
Okay. And is that also the answer to, is it available in Canvas Commons?
I'm not sure, but I will show you how to access it via our website at the end.
It's not in Canvas Commons. It's going to be in the Canvas catalog for San Diego County Office of Ed.
Thank you, Stacy. By the way, I forgot to introduce the amazing Stacy Block, who runs our professional learning and technological research team at the SDCOE, and she is the pioneer of Canvas at SDCOE and has helped lead us in our Canvas work. So thank you, Stacy. All right, so moving along, anybody who completes this training will leave with a very strong understanding of what essential skills are and how they're used in the workplace. So why are they important to students as they enter a career? They will also leave with a variety of activities and strategies that they can use to help their students improve their essential skills. And then lastly, as I mentioned, you'll have access to all of these resources and training materials, which you can edit, customize, you can pull sections that you like, use them however you want to use them. And now I'm just going to run through a few slides that sort of provide a good overview of the format of each module. So these are from module 4, which is our dependability and workplace etiquette module. So we always start each module by defining the skills. And again, these are mirrored to the rubrics. But we start with a definition because some of these concepts are very complex, or they might have connotations outside of work readiness. So we just want to make sure the students are on the same page. Then we always we break each skill into building blocks, again, like the rubrics, because we want to give students bite-sized chunks that they can focus on to improve their skills. And we always relate these building blocks back to the workplace. That's always the goal. It's here's what you need to know, here's why it's important, and here's how you're going to use that in a career. I included this slide because I wanted to mention where we're getting this information. So we conducted a ton of research to develop these trainings, and some things came from advice from employers. So if you look at that first line, something we kept hearing from employers, and what we saw in the research is that one of the strongest correlating factor in terms of delivering a quality work product at work, or just being a high functioning, high quality employee, is simply knowing what your top 3 priorities are at that job. So it's not about intelligence. It's not necessarily about, you know, being the most out there, taking the most initiative. It's simply just knowing what you were hired to do. So that's really useful information if you don't have any work experience and you're entering your first job or internship. So that's an example of something that we took from employers who were providing advice for entry-level employees. Another piece, or another source of information, was feedback from educators. So we talked to a lot of teachers, obviously, who run internships for their students, and they come to us and say, hey, for the students where these internships aren't working out, we notice a pattern, and we'd love it if you could, in these trainings, you know, talk to our students about X. And so again, just drawing your attention to one line, that first bullet point under the line, something we were hearing is that students, if they didn't know how to do something, they were hesitant to ask questions. They would just go try to do it and usually do it incorrectly and then get in trouble for that. And so we just explicitly throw little pieces of advice throughout the training. So if you don't know how to do something, or if you're not sure what you should be working on, what your top 3 priorities are, ask your supervisor. It sounds like obvious to us as professionals, but again, we can't assume that 16, 17, 18-year-olds know these things. Also, in each module, it's chock full of little activities, and these are designed to be done in a classroom setting. They can be done virtually through polling, which is what we're going to do. So for an activity, I typically have students break up into groups or pairs and discuss the activity and how they're going to solve it. There's a ton of different types of activities, each with their own format, but I just wanted to provide you this one as an example. So this activity is a scenario-based activity. So for this one, we are the interns, or if I were delivering this to a class, the students would be the interns. And so in this scenario, we are at our internship and we've completed the final task on our to-do list for the week, but we still have 4 hours left before we're done. What should we do with that time? And I am going, whoops, where's my polling? I'm going to drop in a poll. So I want to hear your responses. We'll give you, say, 30 seconds to fill this out.
Alex, how many hours is the course designed?
Great question. So I think if you sat down and did it, it'd be probably around an hour and a half, definitely not more than 2 hours. But again, it's at your own pace. So if you just want to watch one video a day, you could do that. You could just, you know, take little chunks at a time, or just sit down and crank it out. So great question. All right. So it looks like everybody's pretty aligned in their answers. All right, I'll give it a few more seconds. Okay, I think. Okay, well, if you're a workforce development pro, you would know that eating a snack is always the right answer. I'm just kidding. You guys got it. Yes, you ask your supervisor if there's anything else you can do. And let me go to the next slide. Throughout the trainings, we also include these teacher slides, and these are little slides with background information to help teachers remember this is what we want to get out of this activity or this slide. So for this one, it specifically covers the response to this internship scenario. So yes, the correct answer, which the majority of you got, ask your supervisor if there's anything else you can do. You go up and you say, hey, I finished that assignment. What else can I help you with? And this is just an A+ intern response because one, they're going to be really impressed with your time management. Not only did you complete all your assignments on time, you actually completed them early. Two, they're going to love that you're taking the initiative to ask for more work, to ask them how you can make their job easier. So they're going to say, wow, this intern, they're ready for more responsibility. And you know what? Maybe this employer has a entry-level job opening up in next month. And they might say, you know who's been great? That intern. We need to make sure that they apply for this position. Anyways, you guys get the idea here. So I'm just going to wrap up with a recap of the resources. So of course, in these trainings, you guys already have access to the essential skills rubrics, but we put them in the trainings as well, just to make sure that you're using them because they're such an amazing resource. You have access to all the presentation slides, which you can edit and use tailor to your needs. We have activity sheets for each of the activities that provide a little overview. You can print them out, use them in class, or just use them as a way to remember how the activity functions. We also included a bunch of supplemental resources. So for example, videos and workforce partnership, San Diego Workforce Partnership actually collated a list of great videos, quick videos that you could share with students about soft skills. So we have those in there. And then all of our research that went into these trainings. So I think we had between 50 and 60 sources that we cited throughout the trainings. And so you can go through there if you want and find where we got that information. And then we of course have some regional reports. We use labor market data, always from San Diego Workforce Partnership. And then we have the photo up here is a report from the community college's Center of Excellence, which is their research arm, which is on employability skills, which is their term for essential skills or soft skills. And these are all continually updated resources to make sure that teachers are on the cutting edge of essential skills. And then lastly, how to access it. I'm going to just show you back on to the website.
And while you're going there, Alex, a clarifying question. Was your estimate of 1.5 to 2 hours per module or that much time for all the modules together?
Total training. Good follow-up question. No, that's all four. I think there's 4 modules. That's all 4 modules together.
And then to follow up with her other question about the certificate.
Oh, yeah.
So we're working with the team to create a generated certificate that you can access at the end, and we'll probably work to put a digital badge on it too if Alex's team wants that. So
yes, and we have a note in the training that says we're working on the digital badge. It'll be there. Thank you, Stacy. That's a great point. So to access it, it's on the same page as the rubrics. You just have to scroll to the bottom here and you can see essential skills teacher training, and that'll take you to our catalog, which is our college and career readiness trainings. We have 2 up there right now, the application skills 1, which is another topic for another day. And then we have our essential skills 1, and we should have a few more coming out soon. So yeah, so you can, again, it's all on that essential skills page on our website.
Can an SD County nonprofit organization take the course?
Yes.
Okay, great.
We would have to review it on a case-by-case basis, but for the most part, yes, we would allow.
And I want to jump back in before questions and comments to also talk for a second about the Essential Skills Student Showcase that we are really excited about. We want to give you and your students an opportunity to share with others, how are you implementing these tools, and what are the great projects that you're working on. So if you look again on the web page, Alex is there right now. You can see information on what the showcase is. We encourage you to apply this, have students work on a portfolio piece, or use it as a reflection in a project, whatever it is. And then you can click on that link to submit an entry. It's very similar to the student reflection form that that you can use with your students, but adding some information there about who you are, of course, and then what you did. You can add a link, I believe, to your project. Yes, to your portfolio piece or work product. And you can look at the rubric itself. So as you can see, it's just fill this in, and then we're going to showcase all of the work that students are doing. And at the very least on the website, we'll kind of feel it out and see how things evolve. We might do a Zoom event as well to allow them to present and have an audience for what they're working on. But we're kind of playing it by ear at the moment. So for now, we're really excited to just get as many submissions as possible. The deadline for this first showcase is going to be December 18th, I believe. Yes. So basically the end of this year, and we're going to have the showcase in January sometime. So more details to come, but we are really, really excited to see what people do with these rubrics and see the amazing work that students create. So please do encourage them to submit. It's a great piece to be able to even add into their portfolios, not just the rubric, but the fact that they were an essential skills student leader and were showcased in this way. So with that, truly any final questions or comments, we're happy to take them all. Again, unmute or put them in the chat.
There was some questions about, Alex, with those out of county or those even in other states wanting to know about the course. I put in the chat that I think they should just sign up if they're interested, and then you will have that email, Alex, and you can do a follow-up with them with Marco.
Oh, yeah, that's a great idea. Yes, that would work. So if you did miss it, we are working on creating an out of San Diego County course. And again, that one will have a small fee. It's just to cover the cost of the training. The San Diego one, we wanted to make free for San Diego educators because we're being funded in our region to do it. So, but yeah, we want to make it available to anyone. So, so yes, please stay tuned and check back. We'll have a outside of San Diego County link as well.
And I see Jackie Rivers raised your hand. Assuming that was intentional, go ahead and unmute if you have a question.
My question is, this is a great program, but is there maybe, I know us teachers can present it to the kids and do all the work, but it's kind of nice when you bring in maybe an industry partner or one of you guys to come in and showcase this or just give them some ideas to just, springboard it. Do you guys offer that or have people that will do that?
Maybe. It's something we're still trying to evaluate capacity for. It's something we've done in the past. It's something we're interested in doing. So I realize that my email is not on that page, but I'm going to put my email in the chat. Reach out to me so we can talk about it and what that might look like in your case. We can see if we have funding to do it or if there's funding available to get somebody out there and to provide that. That's absolutely something we'd love to explore with you.
Thank you.
Yeah, sure. And
all right, I'm still going to allow comments and questions. I'm moving the screen over to, oh, there's the San Diego Workforce Partnership website if you want to visit that. And then I'm just going to move it over to our certificate in case teachers who need to verify that they attended this need to take the photo of it. But yeah, let's keep the questions rolling.
And you can see in the chat now, my email is there, Alex's email is there. So if you have follow-up questions, please do reach out to us. We're excited to engage in whatever conversations you want to have on this topic. We've all put a lot of work into this rubric and really want to make sure it doesn't just sit on a website and that it's what we're doing is making it as applicable and useful to you all as possible. So anyway, we can help to amplify that. We're game for.